everybody, it's Wendy, and today I'm going to do a little bit of a different video. This is for the new beaders, so beginner beaders. This is just an overview of some of the things we use a lot in beading, their terms and what they're for. So this is for Avonda and Kara. They had left comments on my YouTube, one of my other videos, that they are new beaders and would like to know some of the terms and have found some things confusing. So I'm going to do this video just hoping that this will help some of the new beaders understand a little bit more about the basic things that we all use, that we just rattle off terms, you know, all the time, and we forget that you guys, you know, if you're new, you have no idea what we're talking about, and is understandable because I'm trying to get this bead cap apart, or you'll see that in a minute. But anyway, you have no idea what we're talking about, and that's understandable because there is a lot to learn in jewelry making. So first of all, the encouraging word today is great things take time. So this is a good card for this. I look back at some of my beginning jewelry and I'm appalled at what I made, but you know, great things take time. I still don't think that I've reached any kind of pinnacle or anything, don't get me wrong, but I just have improved, and you will too as you come along in your jewelry making journey. So the first thing, I'm just going to go through the basics. This is the very basics. So if you are an advanced beader, you may not want to watch this video. I mean, you're welcome to, of course, but you know, this is for beginners. I just want to preface that so I don't get some ugly person on here, you know, telling me that, you know, there are those people. So anyway, this is for beginners. So, you know, just note that up front. Okay, so Avonda and Kara, clasps are the first thing we're going to talk about. And I do have a video, and I will link it in the description box below this video, focusing just on clasps. But, you know, we'll hit them in this video too. So these are lobster clasps. Lobster claw clasps because they kind of look like a lobster claw. And they come in all different shapes and sizes. So here's a heart one. Here's a different heart one. See? And the way they hook on is you hook them onto your, whatever you're making here, and then you'll have a ring over here, and I usually just use a jump ring or whatever kind of closed ring, and they clasp on, okay? So these are awesome. I use these all the time. Here's a little elephant one. Like I said, you can get them in all different shapes and sizes, and, you know, really cute. And then this is just the common, regular kind that you're going to see, and this is a lobster claw clasp. Okay, that's what I use the most. The next most used clasp, I think, are toggles. Okay, so they as well come in all different kinds. So this toggle right here has 3 loops on it. So you could do a multi-strand bracelet, string it in between. You've got your little bar here. So let me open that up. That's not the way to open a jump ring. Don't do what I'm doing, but I just... So you've got your little bar here and your ring, and your bar will string on one end, your ring will string on the other, and it'll come around and clasp through here, just like this, and that is your basic toggle clasp. Okay, so this is a 3-strand one. That's not the most common thing you're going to see. The most common kind you're going to see are just these 1-strand ones. So here's one with some pretty little flowers on it. Okay, and again, they're not normally hooked together like that. They're not going to be hooked together like that when you use them on your jewelry, but I just have them that way so I can not lose their pieces. Here's another one. They come in all different. This is a hummingbird, so this is the bar part. This is the ring part, and the bar would go through the ring and make a pretty little clasp. So that one's really cool. You can see that. Here is another one, and again, just a fancy little toggle. So those are toggles. That, I would say, the toggles and the lobsters are the most common. There are magnetic clasps. There are tons of different kinds, and if you watch that other video, it shows more of them, but I just showed those today just because they're the 2 most common kind. Okay, so those are clasps. Lots of other kinds of clasps. I mean, tons and tons of other kinds of clasps. So watch the other video. It shows more of them, but yeah, those are the 2 most common kind. Okay, then we've got head pins and eye pins. So a head pin is a little piece of wire with a flat top on there. Okay, so you can see there's its little flat top. So what happens with a head pin, if you want to make a dangle, Okay, you put your bead on here, it stops because of the flat top, and then you can make your loop here and you've got a dangle. That's a regular head pin. Here is a ball head pin. Ball head pins are thinner usually and have a ball on the end like this. So when you put your bead on, same thing, but a lot of times people make wrapped loops with ball head pins because they are thin and you want your loop to be secure. If you do a regular loop with the ball head pin, it's not going to be as secure as it would with this one. See the difference in the thickness? This one is way thicker. It's going to make a loop better. This one needs to be wrapped or it could come open. Then we have all kinds of head pins with cool things on the end. So here is one. And again, you would just put your bead on. And you have a decorative element there on the end of your head pin. Okay? So those are head pins. They come in all different lengths, all different thicknesses, just tons and tons of different types, all different metals. These are eye pins. So an eye pin has a loop on one end. And the reason for that is if you want to connect two things, okay? Or if you want to make a drop and put another drop on it. So like if I wanted to make a connector bead here, I would make a loop on this end and then I would have two loops and I could connect this to the next thing and so on. So that's an eye pin. Anytime you want something to be able to connect to something else on both sides or to have a drop hanging from it, this would be what you would use. So that's an eye pin. So that's head pins and eye pins. Let's talk about metals for a minute. Okay, so we have all different metals in jewelry making. This is Casey gold. It's like a lighter gold. It's also called light gold sometimes. And I've just pulled my lobster clasps out here because I have them in a lot of different metals so I can show you. This is rose gold. If you can see, it's got a rosier tint to it than Casey gold. And sometimes rose gold comes in more of a, here's a little more of a orangey form of it. But that's Casey gold and rose gold. Rose gold's a little more expensive usually than regular metals. Then we have regular yellow gold. Okay, so there's yellow gold compared to the other two. Then we have antiqued gold, and I don't have an antiqued gold one out here. I don't really have a whole lot of antiqued gold, but it's got more of a, well, let's see. No, it's got more of a, well, it's got some like black in it maybe, or an antique-y kind of finish. Okay, so it's going to be basically the same thing, just antiqued. Okay, then we have silver. So this is platinum or bright silver. I've also seen this called rhodium. There's that one. Then we have antique silver, which is that one. And, you know, there's other shades, obviously, but those are the two main. Here is copper. And then antique bronze, and a lot of, or bronze or antique bronze, either way you want to say it. I usually get copper and bronze confused for some reason. Like when I'm pulling pieces out that I want to make something with, I'll look for bronze, I'll pull out copper accidentally. I don't know, I have trouble with that, but those are the difference. You know, there is a definite difference there. This is patinaed. So this is a, whoops, goodness, focus. This is a little lobster clasp. Here's another example of a lobster. This is a fish. Let me see if, well, is he broken? I don't know. He may be broken. Probably need to investigate him a little bit because I don't see, unless it's this and it's just sticking, which it could be. Yeah, it is. Okay, so there we go. Whoops, he jumped right out of my hand, didn't he? Okay, so here we go. See how that works? Whoops, he's really hard to hang on to. It's like a real fish. See, there we go. Goodness gracious. All right, anyway, this is patinaed. So this is a metal, and you can do this with just about any metal that they've taken and they've painted on this stuff called patina, and it's made this greenish. And patina comes in all different colors. So that's a patinaed metal. This is gunmetal, which is like basically black. Okay, so those are the main metals. I mean, there's all kinds of different shades of each one, and there's all kinds of different finishes and all that, but those are the main metals that you're going to get, you know, in your jewelry making. Silver tarnishes. Let's talk about tarnish. Silver tarnishes. Rose gold, it all tarnishes. Anything but stainless steel tarnishes. And I've started putting little things in my website orders that say this. All metals tarnish, okay, except for stainless steel. I wish they didn't. Humidity causes it. The best thing you can do is keep your metals in airtight containers like Ziploc bags with an anti-tarnish strip. I buy my little anti-tarnish strips on Amazon. They're just little squares. I keep them in the plastic Ziploc baggie with my metals, and they help keep my metals from tarnishing. Another thing you can do, this is also on Amazon, this eternal jewelry coating. I paint all my silvers with this now. I didn't used to, but I do now. I paint all my silvers with this just to keep them from tarnishing, because even if you have a good quality metal, it's going to tarnish. It happens. It's the nature of metal, except for stainless steel. I would love to buy all stainless steel to have on my website, and I am trying to invest more into stainless steel, but that greatly limits your variety of what you can. Not everything comes in stainless steel, or it's really expensive in stainless steel. So, you know, I go ahead and I buy, like this will tarnish. These bright silvers, they tarnish fast, especially if you live in a humid area. So I would paint this with that eternal jewelry coating before I would create a piece of jewelry with it. But keeping these things in airtight bags with an anti-tarnish strip, or all those little silica gel packets that you get in stuff, you know, all those little, they come in your medicine bottles, they come in everything basically. Keep those. I keep those and use them. They keep things from tarnishing. The Chinese people put rice in their stuff. That's why a lot of times you get something in the mail, and it's got rice in it. That is what they're doing. They are using that to keep it from tarnishing. So, you know, there's different things you can do. Anything to absorb moisture will help keep it from tarnishing. But all metals tarnish except for stainless steel. Okay, so those are the most common metals. Let's look at bead caps. All right, so bead caps. These are just basically to decorate a bead. That's it. So say I have this black bead here. I want to make this pretty. So I'm going to put this on here and then this on here. And then this is a very elaborate bead cap. This is from Jesse James Beads. If I had another one of these, which I do, but I don't have it out here, it would, you know, encapsulate this bead and make it really, really decorative. So that's an extreme bead cap. This is more of a normal bead cap. So it just goes on your head pin or eye pin, and you put your bead on it, and see how pretty that makes that. Now I know my metals don't match here, but it's just for the purpose of example. So there are filigree bead caps, which are these. There's these little cute guys right here. Whoops. Little cute. Whoops. Well, it would help if I put it on the right way now, wouldn't it? Little cute dudes that are just look like a little flower. See that? It just adds a decorative element to your bead. It makes it pretty. They come in all different shapes and sizes. Check this one out. This is a seahorse bead cap. I have these on my website right now. I don't want to use this with that head pin because it has a big thing on the bottom. This one may not be big enough. Okay, so we're going to put his tail on, put our bead on, put the head on, and check it out. Isn't that cute? What a cute little pair of earrings these make. So that I have all kinds of these on my website in different things. Like there are tea kettles, there are these seahorses, there are some glue-on bead caps that are little ears, little rabbit ears or dog ears or bear ears that you just glue on. So these are bead caps. Basically, they're just a decorative element to make your bead prettier or more interesting. And they have them in all different metals, all different shapes and sizes. And so those are bead caps. And that's just an optional thing, not something you've got to have. Spacer beads. Okay, the most common spacer bead you're going to see is a round metal spacer bead. They come in all different shapes and colors and sizes and, you know, again. But then you can get into some different kind of spacer stuff. So this is a rhinestone rondelle spacer. That's what it's called. So you would put your bead on, then you would put this on, and then you would put another one on, another bead on. I really should have pulled out two of these purple beads, but I did not. That was kind of silly of me. Here's another one. There we go. And there's our rhinestone spacer in between our two beads. Now, this one's kind of big. I wouldn't necessarily use it for that, but here is a fancy snowflake spacer. And it's just another thing that gives a decorative element to what you're doing, okay? These can be used as all kinds of things. These can be used as little hats on skull beads. They can be used as little halos on angel beads. I mean, you just got to think out of the box. But metal spacers are basically just little decorative elements that you're going to put in between your beads just to give it some more decoration. So that's what these are. These are called daisy spacers or snowflake spacers a lot of times. These are rondelle rhinestone spacers. These are just round spacers. Okay, so spacer beads. Now let's talk about beads. All right, so beads. Beads come in every shape, size, color, stuff that you can make them out of. I mean, everything. Beads are, it's endless. It's endless, the possibilities. Okay, so let's look at some of these. So obviously your most common bead is going to be a round bead. Okay, here's a round bead. These are also called drucks. Okay, that confused me for the longest time. I was like, what the heck is a druck? What's the difference between a druck and a round bead? Nothing. Drucks are a Czech word for round. And so there they are. Now this is called mermaid glass, or opalite is the gemstone. This is faux. This is not real. This is just mermaid glass. And what they've done, if you look in there, you can see there's a line. I don't know if you can see it on camera, but there's a line in there. They have taken two pieces of glass, put a AB coating in the middle, and put them back together, and it makes this. It looks like they have little lights in them. They are so, so pretty. It's called mermaid glass, and yeah, I love those. So that's your round bead. They come in all different shapes and sizes. This is a humongous round bead. This is a Jesse James bead. It's huge. This is a little one. Here is, well, yeah, look at this little guy compared to those. Okay, so this is a little tiny round bead. Or it's not round, it's actually round faceted, but anyway. So that's another thing. Round beads come in faceted or non-faceted. So this is a faceted bead. As you can see, it's been cut to have all these facets in it, and it makes them very sparkly and shiny and pretty. This one has no facets, so that's the difference in faceted and non-faceted. So then you've got bicones. This is a bicone. A bicone is kind of a triangle-shaped bead. They come in all different sizes, and this is a big one. So that's a bicone. So you'll hear that term quite often. It's one of the most common types of beads that we use, bicones. Rondelles. I had one out here a minute ago. What did I do with it? Here's a rondelle. This is a rondelle. A rondelle is not quite round. So if you can see, he's kind of smushed. He's round, but he has flat tops. Okay, there he is. That's a rondelle. Whoops. They're usually faceted like this, and they're very, very common, but they have these flat tops. They're kind of a smushed round bead. That's a rondelle. We've got all kinds of other beads. So this is a faceted heart. Look how pretty. This is a European style or large hole bead. This, you would have to put something in. So you can take a bicone like this. I've made a bunch of earrings, and I'm actually, do I have one over here? I do. Here's one. So this is a large hole bead right here in the middle. And I have put bicones in it and then done my own wire wrapping, made my own ear wire. So this is one of these right here with these on either end. And where the bicone goes down in there and fills that large hole, it holds the bead in place, makes really cute earrings. Okay, so that's that. Okay, so this is a drop. These are briolette drilled. So briolette drilled means it's drilled across the top this way. So your head pin or wire, whatever you're using, is going to go through this way and make it drop. Now, a lot of times these need to be wire wrapped. They can be strung right on tiger tail. Well, I have a necklace, actually my La Luna necklace. I don't know where it's at. It is coming out on Jesse James Beads maybe next week. I'm not sure, but anyway, I've strung the drops like this on there, on tiger tail. But normally this would have to be like wire wrapped or something around it to make a loop, but this is a briolette drilled bead, and it's a drop, a faceted drop, okay, because it drops. And I'm sorry, my camera's having trouble because I've got too much sparkle on the screen, I think. There we go. So that's a drop, faceted drop. Then we've got, this is a coin bead. Let me get all this off here. I don't know why it's trying to focus on everything but what I need it to. This is a coin bead. There we go. So it's kind of flat. It's not a rondelle. Rondelle would be round. See, here's the difference. That's a rondelle. This is a coin. Man, I'm really having trouble with the camera. I'm going to stop this video and restart it and just see if that helps. Okay, hopefully this will help. I don't know why it's having such trouble focusing. It might just be the sparkle on the bead, but this is a coin bead anyway. And they're kind of flat, kind of puffy, but they look like this on your head pin. Okay, that's a coin bead. There are tons of different, here's an oval bead, faceted oval. My head pin doesn't want to go through it for some reason. It must have a clog in the middle. There's a faceted oval. Here's even a square bead that's drilled diagonally, so that's pretty cool. Here is a ceramic bead with kind of a large hole. Now on something like this, your head pin isn't going to work. What would you do? You could take a bead cap and put there. You could take a spacer bead. You could take a bicone. Just anything. I'm trying to get the spacer bead. There we go. Anything to keep it on your head pin. Okay. And this is a frosted glass bead. So, you know, beads, they come in all shapes, all colors, all sizes, all materials. They come in polymer clay, they come in metal, they come in glass, they come in wood, they come in acrylic, they come in resin, and then you've got your gemstone beads, you've got bone beads, you've got ceramic beads. I mean, they're just everything you can imagine, okay, is beads. Now, sizes of beads. The most common sizes I've found, this is a 3mm little tiny rondelle, faceted rondelle, okay? Then you've got 4mm, which is obviously a step up from that. Here is this 6mm or 8? Here's a 4mm, I think, yeah. So actually this is probably a 2mm. It's even smaller than a 3. Here's a 4, here's a 6. No, this might be 8. I think it's 8. I have a Beadsmith mat here. I love this thing. Whoops, I'm sorry, I hit the camera. This mat right here, let me show you guys this. This is made by Beadsmith, and look at this. It has all the millimeters on here. So you just lay the bead in there. Yeah, this is a 3mm right there. Yep, there we go. Then we've got our 4mm. 5, 6, so these are 8, I think, right here. Yeah, I don't have a 6 out. So 6, 10, 12, 14, 16, and then you can go up to even this big humongous guy like this. So they come in all different millimeters, and yeah, everything you ever wanted in a bead you can find, I think. Okay, fire polish beads. I did want to show you fire polished. So these are fire polish beads. Come on out now. There we go. They usually have a beautiful sparkle on them. They're faceted, and they usually have a finish, a coating. But the thing that makes a fire polish bead are these rounded holes, okay? So I know you can't really see that really good, but it has a rounded hole on the end, and they're just usually known for being very beautiful and sparkly. I mean, look at this. These are absolutely gorgeous. So pretty. So fire polish beads are another type of bead. It's just another thing that they've done to the bead to make them beautiful. Okay, so I'm going to put that back up there. All right, so that's beads. Spacer beads, let's see, we went over briolette drilled. Briolette drilled, and this is just center drilled, regular drilled, you know, top to bottom. Like I said, they can be diagonally drilled, like this one. So there's all different ways of doing that too. Bails. Let's talk about bails. So bails are things that you can glue onto things to give them a surface. So say, this is not a good example right here, but say I wanted to hang this coin bead. Say this was a cabochon. Let's pretend. This is a cabochon. It has no hole, okay? And I want to use it. I want to hang it from something to make like a little earring. I could glue on this bail on this cabochon, okay? That would be the easiest way to do that. Now, there are pinch bails So this is a pinch bell. So where did my briolette drop go? Okay, so say I want to hang this briolette drop from something. This is a pinch bell. These can go in either side of this briolette, right, like that. You pinch it closed, and voila, you have an instant little hanger for it. Okay, that's a pinch bell. They come in all different sizes. There's those. So that's a glue-on bell. This is a pinch bell. Here's another example of a glue-on bell. Like, you would have to have something pretty big to use this on, and I don't have anything like, well, here I do. Here's an earring that I made. Say I wanted to make this a pendant. I could glue this bell on. Now, this has a hole in it, so I wouldn't do that, but I could glue that bell on, or I could glue this bell on. And these hanger bells come in all different colors and sizes and shapes and everything. I could use this pinch bell right here on it if I wanted to. Just pinch it closed, and there I've got an instant hanger. These bells are made to go over wire, okay, or through like a cord, or, you know, whatever. Now, you could say, I don't know, let's see here. Here's my leather. So I've got some leather. Say I want to hang my drop from this like this. So I could take, now I would not use this big of a bell on this leather probably, but I would just take the leather through here and you've got a bell. Now you can hang something. So there's small ones like this one. Okay, same thing. These are called hanger bells. Here's one that's like a little rabbit or something. It's cute. But it's got little ears, and you would hang your thing on here like this. So those are made to put through things. This is a noodle form of a bell. Oh, this is another type of bead that there are. They're called noodle beads. They're long and thin like this. Here's a bunch of them right here. Noodles. Okay. I don't use them a lot, but so those are bells. Those are what, you know, you hang things from something. They are made to make something hangable, basically. Here's a square glue-on bell right here. So if I wanted to glue this on here, make a pendant, there you have it. Okay. So those are bells. Then, see what we have next. Ear wires. Okay. There are a blue million ear wires, and there is no way I could go over all of them in one video, but I'm going to attempt to show you the most popular, or the most common, I would say, kinds of ear wires. Okay, so the most common kind of ear wire is your fish hook. Here it is. That's a fish hook ear wire. We hang like bazillion earrings on them. Here's one that I've made on my own. That's my own fish hook ear wire that I made. So yeah, fish hook ear wire is one of the most common types. It looks like a little fish hook. Then we have lever backs. So this is a lever back ear wire right here. This part goes through your ear and it closes here. So you would hang your thing from there. Okay, that's a lever back. I meant to pull out a kidney ear wire and I didn't. This is, I don't know what these are called, but I love these. These are really cool ear wires. It just goes through your ear here, and you can you can straighten this out and put beads on and then bend it back, or you can just hang something from it. So those are really cool. This is a hoop. These hoops open up, so this comes out. You can bead on this. Then you're supposed to be able to put this back in and take your pliers and crimp that little thing down and it stays, but I never have much success with that. I always end up gluing them. I glue this in and then crimp it down too. But this is another form of hoop ear wire. Then we have this kind of hoop ear wire, which does not open. You would just have to hang something from it or hang something from here. And then you put your ear hook up here. So this is a non-opening one, and I have these come in different shapes. Here's a diamond-shaped one. Same thing, they don't open. This is a pinch bell ear wire. So you would take this and open it. You would take your bead, stick it in here, and close this up. And there's your earring. Okay, hang it from a fish hook or something like that at the top, a post. And there's an earring for you. That's a pinch bell ear wire, or it could be a bell. I mean, you could use, that's another thing about jewelry making. You can use multiple things for multiple things, and I'll show you another example here in a second. This is a post, a ball post ear wire. It's just a little post, and it's got a loop, and you would have to hook something on with a jump ring. This loop doesn't open, but this is for, like, say I've got a really long earring and I don't want to make it any longer. I would use this instead of a fish hook. This is a post ear wire, so this is just you would glue something on this. So where's my pretend cabochon? Okay, here's my pretend cabochon. Bam, glue him right on there. I can hang something from the drop. Okay, instant earring. This is a cup. This one would be for like a pointed back rhinestone, and it doesn't have a loop or anything on it, but it's just a ball cup or a bezel. It could be called a bezel. Okay, and you would put your little pointed back in there. You could even put bicones in there if you wanted, but you wouldn't really want to because of the hole on the end, but that's a possibility in some sort of way. So that is a cup or bezel ear wire. Here's a chandelier. This is a post chandelier, so this little thing comes off, obviously. It's just to protect it, I guess. And you've got your little hoops that you can hang things from. So you'd use your head pins or eye pins and make little dangles to hang from there. That's a chandelier. Now, this is a chandelier ear wire. It can't really be anything else because it's got this post on it. It's obviously got to be an ear wire unless you cut that off, and then you would have to glue a bail on or something, which would just be a lot of work for nothing. They do make chandelier findings, so check this out. Here's a chandelier finding. So you would hook your ear wire right here, and you would put all your dangles down here. But say I wanted to make a bracelet and use this. I really love this thing. I want to use it in a bracelet. This could be a multi-strand reducer. So I could have a 5-strand bracelet and come down to my one closure where I would put like my lobster claw clasp on or something, okay? So a lot of things can double as other things. So this is actually a chandelier earring finding, but it could be that reducer to do multi-strand bracelet. Here's another one. This one is actually a chandelier as well, but I wanted to make a 2-strand bracelet. I could do that and then come down to one and put my clasp on. Or it could be a chandelier earring finding. It could be a pendant. You could hang it off of a piece of wire with some dangles on it. So you just have to think outside of the box a lot of time with jewelry making. You know, this right here. You could hang something from here, here, and here. Or you could just do a bracelet, 1 strand to 1 strand. Or you could make a pendant out of it. So hang it from your wire, hang some things from here. So, you know, you have to think, you have to look at these things and think of what else can I do with this? That's what I do a lot of times. I look at it and I think, okay, this is supposed to be this, but what else could it be? All right, so that is connectors, bails, ear wires. I've got my notes here. Now stringing. Let's talk stringing. So stringing, there are so many options for stringing. I'm not going to show you all of them because I can't. That would just be incredible. But here is what is called stringing wire or tiger tail. It goes by both names. And I'm sorry, my nails look horrible today. My hands look horrible. I was doing altered dominoes last night. I'm actually going to do a tutorial on this. So this is a domino. I'm going to make it into a magnet. But I got stuff all over me. Alcohol inks all over me. And aren't they cute? They make adorable little magnets, and I give them away as gifts. So anyway, altered dominoes. Okay, stringing. So it's also called tiger tail. This comes in 7-strand, I think 19-strand and 49-strand. And what this is this is wire that has been woven together and coated with like a nylon coating to make a very strong stringing wire. So you string right on this, okay? You can string right on it. It's awesome. That's tiger tail or beading wire, either name. Then we have soft flex. Now, soft flex is a step up. It's a beading wire, but it kind of holds its shape. Like, it's very cool. It's coated in nylon as well, but it comes in a lot of different colors, and you can do kind of artistic-y things with it more than with the other beading wire. So this is really cool. I mean, you can use crimp beads and you can make shapes out of it. See, this, if it gets kinked, it's kinked. This bends a little bit. It flexes. That's why it's called soft flex. So I really like soft flex. I like to use it because it's one, it's pretty and decorative, and number 2, it's just really versatile. You can do a lot with it. Then we have leather. Here's some leather. You can use cord, you can use leather, you can use hemp, you can use all kinds of things. I mean, whatever you want. You can use sari silk, which is like a silk ribbon. So this is a 1mm leather. I usually get either 0.5 or 1 because beads will string onto it. but that's leather. Then there is beading thread. So this is beading thread. This is like a thread that you would put through a needle and do bead weaving. Okay, you don't string on this like for just regular stringing beads. This is for bead weaving. And then we have Fireline, which is also for bead weaving. And Fireline is a really strong, it's just a strong wire, or not wire, but I don't know what this is made of. Nylon, I think. This is 6 pound. It comes in different poundages. And really, I'll tell you a secret. This is called Wildfire in the beading store. It is about 3 times the price of this, which is fishing line that I bought at the sports store. So it's the same thing. It comes in smoke, it comes in crystal, it comes in a light green color, it comes in clear, and there's like 6 pound, 8 pound. I never go above 8 pound really, but this is more for bead weaving than stringing. Another thing is stretch cord. I didn't pull any stretch cord out, but stretch cord is something you can string on and make stretchy bracelets. I mean, the possibilities are endless. There's wire and chain, of course. Let me pull out a couple pieces of chain here, just to kind of give you. So this is my silver chain container, and this is Coriana chain. This is a very thin chain that you can bead right on, okay? Then you've got bigger, there's chunky chains, like this one. There's fine chain, like this one. I mean, chain comes in all different shapes, sizes, widths. There's links tiny like this one. There's curb chain. This is Rollo chain, so it's round loops hooked together. There's Figaro chain, which is this a Figaro? No, this is like an oval chain. Oval chain, curb chain, they're pretty similar. This is called a snake chain right here. And if you'll see, this snake chain is kind of starting to tarnish because everything tarnishes. So I will have to clean it up. I don't use these snake chains a lot, but I do have a few of them. So that's chain. All different shapes, all different sizes, all different widths, all different everything. So the possibilities are endless with chain. Now, to finish our projects, a lot of times, we are using things like this. So these are cord ends or crimp ends. And let me grab my leather piece. Say I was doing a necklace with this piece of leather and I want to finish it. Now this is kind of a big one for this small piece of leather. But I would lay it down in here. This is a fold over crimp end or fold over end, cord end. I would lay my leather in there. I would take my pliers and fold these in. And voila, I would have a little finished piece. This one is you put this in here and you take your pliers and you crimp down this middle piece. Okay, so that's how this one works. This is a crimp lock cord end. This is a glue-in cord end, so you would obviously need a bigger piece or multiple pieces to make this fit, because this is, I think it's got a 3mm diameter inside, but you know, like this, you would glue it in. You would put some glue up in there and stick your leather up in there. This is a fold over and glue one. So I would take my leather, put it in here, put a little glue in there, and then fold this closed. And there's another closure for my stringing or leather. So, you know, there's tons and tons of possibilities that way as well. And then you have your crimp beads. So this is really a common way to finish. So say we got our tiger tail here. We have crimp beads. These are tiny little crimp beads. These are crimp tubes. Okay, so the tubes are longer. The beads are round. And I would always advise buying good quality crimp beads. Okay, it makes a huge difference in crimping. If you buy cheap ones, they break. It's just the way it is. You know, I'm sorry. I'm not really a brand name snob on a lot of things. I think if I like the look of it, I don't care whose name is on it, but when it comes to crimp beads, you better buy good ones. Otherwise, your jewelry's going to break. So the crimp bead goes right on. You use a special pair of pliers. So these pliers right here have this little divot in them. So what you would do is normally you have 2 pieces of tiger tail. So let me just, do I have a piece out here that I can, a scrap piece? No, I do not. Okay, let me cut this. I'm just going to show you how we crimp. All right. So say I have a mini necklace strung on here. Let's put a little bead on it. All right, here's my little mini Barbie doll necklace, okay? And I'm wanting to finish the end. Let's take that off because I'm not going to be able to do it with that on there. So here's my crimp bead. I would put it on. And then I would take this. This is a wire guardian. Now you don't have to use a wire guardian, but it's very secure if you do, and I like to. You put your tiger tail in one side of it. You come up and over and wrap it around and come out the other side. So your wire guardian has, see how it just lays in there and each one comes out one side. And this protects your wire from fraying. And then you put your crimp bead over both of the wires. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. Now, it's important, fairly important, to make sure that these wires are laying side by side and not on top of each other or crossed, because when you lay this crimp bead in this little divot in your plier and you press this down, it puts a wire in each of these little, it makes 2 little channels, and one of your wires goes in each one, okay? Then what you do is you turn this 90 degrees, or you turn your pliers, and one of these little ridges up at the top, depending on how big your bead is. This is a small crimp bead, so I'm probably going to go in the second one, and you just mash it down. And when you do, you get a good little crimp. Now this was a cheap crimp bead that I used, and it kind of warps. Whoops, I wanted to show you this. Can you see how it doesn't make a perfect little crimp because it's a cheap crimp bead? I would not trust this. I would think it might break eventually. Let me show you with a better quality. This is a Beadsmith crimp tube, okay? I'm not going to use another wire guardian. I'm just going to show you how this would work. So you put your Beadsmith crimp tube on there. Your wire guardian would go here, but I don't want to waste another one. And then your wire would go down through this. Same as you did on the other side. But I'm going to show you the difference between a quality crimp bead or crimp tube and a cheap one. So I'm going to make sure that my wire's not crossed. It's just sitting side by side here. I am going to crimp it down. Okay, each wire goes in its own little channel. I'm going to turn this 90 degrees. I'm going to close it up. And if you look at this crimp tube compared to the other one, see how it's got this nice little bend in there? It is not warped. It's perfectly rounded and bent together, okay? That's the difference. This is the cheap one. It's warped up. It looks ridiculous. And I honestly wouldn't trust it to stay on my wire. But this one is perfect. And I'm telling you, it makes a huge difference. I don't know why. It must be something to do with the metals they use. I have no idea. But anyway, it's important. So wire guardians, crimp beads, crimp tubes, and then we have our little crimp bead covers. Okay, so say you don't want this to show, or this ugly one. Say we don't want this one to show. So I could take my little crimp bead cover. Now these come in all different sizes depending on what size crimp bead you have. You're gonna, you don't want a too big one on a teeny tiny crimp bead, or a too small one on a big crimp bead. So that just goes right over and you close it up. It's like a little Pac-Man, and then it makes it look like that there's a little ball on top of your crimp bead. And because this crimp bead's kind of warped up, sometimes you have to adjust these anyway and fix them. But there we go. That looks like just a little bead now instead of that warped up crimp bead. So those are crimp covers, okay? I thought of something else I wanted to show. Oh, clamshell connectors. This is another way that you can close up chain or Coriana chain or whatever you're using. So these are clamshell connectors. They're all kind of tangled up together. I forgot to pull these out last night, and then as I was laying awake last night, I thought, oh, I need to add in clamshell connectors. Okay, so here's a clamshell connector. What you would do with this, say this is our chain. We're just going to pretend this is our chain. There's a hole here in the bottom. You would put your chain up through it. Then this is where you can use your cheap crimp beads. You would put your crimp bead on, because all your crimp bead is going to do here is act as a stopper so your chain doesn't slide out, okay? So now what you would do is you would crimp this bead down right here, and then you would slide your clamshell up and close it right up. And there you would have a great little finish on your chain, or your tiger tail, your Coriana chain, whatever you're using. And they have these that have a closed loop at the top, which is this. This loop is already closed. This is my favorite kind because I don't think they're going to come loose. And then they have this kind that has a loop that you have to close on your own, and you just take your round nose pliers and you would just roll it down and close it. They have them that open and close from the side. I don't have any of those out here. So there's all different ones. Again, there's always so much variety, and they're all different colors, shapes, sizes. They even make them decorative, like with a seashell or something on the front. So that is crimping. Let's look at some connectors. So these right here are connectors or spacers. Some people call them spacers. They are a decorative element that has a loop at each end, okay? So you can use these. You can put beads in between them if you wanted to take an eye pin and make a connection with a bead here. You could. You can use them as charms to dangle things from. You can dangle this from an earring. So this is what I call connectors or spacers. They're a little bit different than chandeliers in that they are just like one thing connecting something else. They don't really have a lot of dangles. Now you could dangle some things from this, but it's not meant to be a chandelier. You could make it one, but this is meant to connect two elements together, okay? And again, you would connect them using your lobster or your clamshell connectors or your crimp beads that way. So those are connectors. They're a little bit different than chandeliers. Okay, let's see what we got next. So wire guards, chain, Coriana, regular, I did all that. Jump rings. Jump rings are super important. My favorite jump rings are these oval ones right here. I like them because the little split, so you have open jump rings and you have closed jump rings. An open jump ring is like this, and it has a slit in it, and when you open it with your tool, it opens up, and you always want to open them this way. So let me show you. So you grab on one side of the split or the cut, and on the other side of the cut, and then the way that you open these is you never pull it apart this way. You always twist it open this way. See that? Because then it's going to come back and close up right. If you've pulled it open, just like, see how that, you can put this back and it closes right up like it should be. If we do it like this, that's going to be really hard to get closed back up good. I mean, you can do it, but it's going to be hard. So I like these oval jump rings. There are these oval ones, and then jump rings come in every size, shape, and color you can imagine. So we have got, and I have all mine in this big container because I'm weird that way. So we have teeny tiny ones like this one. And then we have big ones like this one. So, you know, there's twisted ones. Here's a twisted one. Hang on, twisted wire one. If I can get it off here, I'll show it to you. I don't know why it's in the gold. That's twisted wire. They make them in square. They make them in, I mean, they're every size, shape, color, finish that you can imagine. So those are jump rings, and they come either, they're called open or closed. Open are the ones that you can open. Closed, I don't know why they're called jump rings, because really a closed jump ring is just a ring that you would just use on, you know, you can't open it, so you would have to just connect something to it. I don't have any out here, but it's just a closed ring, okay? And then these are split rings. So split rings are like little mini keychain rings. So you can see they have, they have multiple layers, And they make a special plier for this. I have one, but I don't have it here with me. It has a little tooth on the end, and it goes right in here and opens this up, because these are hard to get open, especially the tiny ones. But these are a way, like, if you're worried about your jump ring opening or something, this is a great way. Split rings are very secure and will not open up. They're like little mini keychains. I don't use them very often. Okay, jump ring, split rings, open and closed. Now let's look at tools, okay? So we're going to finish up by looking at tools here. So your basic jewelry tools, and I use Xuron tools. That's this brand. I love them. They're great. This is a flush cutter. So it's a cutter with a flat side and a not flat side. So if I cut a wire up against this, it's going to cut it flat, flush. Okay, so this is a flush cutter. This is a round nose plier. So it's rounded. Let me find, I had another one. Here's another one. So these are round and they're good for making loops. So say I wanted to make a loop here. Just like this. It makes your loop round, okay? Well, that one didn't turn out very good, but normally it makes your loop round. So, and the smaller the loop, you want a bigger loop, you go up here and make it, okay? So this is a Xuron round nose, and I know these look really weird. They look square, but I promise they make round loops. I don't know how it works, but I'll question that when I bought them. And then these are Beadsmith round nose pliers. So you've got your flush cutters, your round nose pliers. Then we've got chain nose pliers. These are short chain nose pliers. They're just flat. So you've got a flat little surface to work with there. They make them like this. Here's a bent chain nose plier. See how it's bent? It kind of reaches in places. We've got a needle nose plier. So this is a chain nose plier that's just long and thin. It's got glue on it. But that's a needle nose plier. I really need new pliers. These are all like really crappy old. Let's see. We have this, which is a chain nose plier. It could be called a flat nose plier. It's a little bit, you know, flatter across the top. So it's just kind of your own personal preference what you like to work with. I like these Beadsmith tools, or these are Beadalon, I'm sorry, Beadalon tools, because they're tiny and they get in small spaces. But my Xuron tools I just love because they're comfortable. These are my favorite, but I use these a lot too because of the size of them. Here's the flush cutter. They're just tinier and they can get in small spaces sometimes. And here's another bent nose plier. So there's all different kinds of pliers. Now this is a crimping plier. Okay, if you can see that, it's got all the little divots in it and everything for the crimp. Then I have some nylon jaw pliers. So this is for grabbing wire, which this one is really, these were a real cheap brand, but it's kind of, these are messed up, but these are for grabbing wire so it doesn't mar your wire. This is a memory wire cutter. Okay, so this is specially for cutting memory wire. You do not want to cut memory wire with your regular cutters because it will definitely mar them and tear them up. And that's about it that I use for tools. So here's memory wire, basically. This hoop is made from memory wire. It's very strong. It's another thing you can string on. It comes in loops. Loops. So it looks like you've got multiple bracelets and in all just one coil. It looks like a slinky, but it's very hard to cut. So you don't want to use your regular pliers on it. So that's pretty much everything. The other kinds of beads that I wanted to mention are seed beads. Seed beads are very tiny little oh, here's another tool. Hold on. You're beading all. I use these a lot, okay, just to poke things, or it's a very pointy little tool. Like if you have a bead that's kind of stopped up or has paint in the end where it's been coated, you can just take this and go in, and I do use this a lot. I use a tape measure and a ruler a lot. And I use E6000 glue a lot. Okay, so those things. Now, seed beads, they come in several different sizes. I don't really have a bunch of seed beads out here, but they're, you know, for like decorating, like space. They make good spacer beads. Here's a seed bead. I made this beaded bead, and these are seed beads, these little ones in between. They fit in small spaces. They're used a lot for bead weaving. They come in several different sizes, but the thing to remember about seed beads is they graduate down. They go from big, the smaller the number, the bigger the bead. It's very confusing. So here's a little tiny 11-0 seed bead. That's an 11-0. And let me pull this other one out that I just had that I shouldn't have stuck back yet. This is an 8-0 right here. Well, that's actually a spacer bead, but that's about the size of an 8-0. And this is a 6-0. So as you can see, the 11-0 is much smaller than the 6-0, which makes no sense, but that's how they do it. And there's 15-0s that are even smaller than 11-0s. Okay, so the main sizes are 15-0, 11-0, 6-0, 8-0, but there's other sizes, but like I said, those are the most common ones, and they go from 6-0 is the biggest, then 8-0, then 11-0, then 15-0, which is so confusing, I know, but that's how they did it. Somebody did it. I don't know who. So anyway, that's pretty much it for this video. I hope this helps. I'm going to try to start doing more beginning beading stuff. Like I will probably go in depth into ear wires. I did that in clasps, or in depth into stringing or something like that. I'll try to start doing more of that type of thing. But anyway, remember, great things take time. Oh, and one more thing I wanted to mention. A lot of people say to me, I get overwhelmed when I'm trying to get, I don't have everything I need to make something. Or my best advice for that, and this is what I did when I first started out. I just dropped my mouse. I pick a project that I want to make. Okay, so go on YouTube. Find your favorite Wendy Whitman. No, I'm just kidding. Find your favorite video of something that you just think is beautiful and you want to make it. And then see what you have. If you don't have the products to make it, go out and get just the specific things to make that project. Okay? Number one, you're not going to be overwhelmed with trying to buy everything you need to bead, okay? Because that's overwhelming. There's just too much. And number two, you're not going to spend a huge amount of money on, all these products and then just having them lay there and not get used. So go out, buy just, say I found a pair of earrings that, Stephanie from Bronze Pony made. Now she does bead weaving. Say I wanted to make those earrings. I look through my stash. I see what I have. If I don't have the stuff to make it, I go buy just what I need for that pair of earrings. And you will be surprised at how quickly you will build your stash doing that. You'll find that, eventually you'll be like, oh, okay, I've got this, and this, and you don't have to go out and buy as much. But that's how I started out. I just bought the stuff for one project and did that project, and then, okay, I loved that. So let's find another project to do, and let's go buy just the stuff for that project. And you'll find pretty soon that you will have a huge amount of stuff and not enough space to store it. That's what happens. So that's my best advice for new beaders. And you guys feel free to contact me. My email will be in the description box below this video, but it is Wendy, WendyJill1974. So it's my first and middle name and my birthday year. Wendy Jill 1974 at Gmail. Okay, feel free to contact me. I love to email. I also try to respond to all the comments. Like on the YouTube channel, it gets difficult because there's like 12,000 subscribers, and I'm thankful for every one of you. But sometimes I'm not able to respond to every comment, even though I want to. So I try to, and I do read them all. I see every last one of them, don't get me wrong, but I'm just not able to respond to everything. So if I give your comment a heart or a like or a thumbs up or whatever, you know that I've seen it, and I may not be able to respond to everyone, but I do see them all. I read them all. I really, really do. So leave comments. That's awesome. I appreciate that. And yeah, so I hope this helped you guys. If it did, let me know. If you want to see more beginner beaders videos, let me know. And remember, great things take time. So be patient with yourself. If something doesn't work out right, take it apart and redo it. It's okay. Don't get stressed out over it. Enjoy it. Enjoy beading. And just, you know, take it one step at a time if you're new, and you will definitely get the hang of it. Trust me, you will. All right. So hope you guys have a great rest of the day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.